in at least one place, and I am attempting to go live the second place. All right, so we're gonna refresh that screen and see what happens.
I'm glad you're at the helm of all the tech controls.
Well, I mean, it's as I don't know if I'm gonna say it's the smoothest sailing thing here. So people just kind of have to bear with me, and
Yeah.
this is why I intentionally named it Unplugged because it
Because
is
this is like real and
it's
stuff.
so unscripted. It's terrifying.
That's
Um,
all the best.
so let's see. Let me make sure that we are live. All the places that we are supposed to be live. Um, so that I don't keep having that fun thing happen each time. So we are live. Um, hmm, we're not live on LinkedIn yet.
Hmm.
It says tomorrow. I don't know why it says.
Oh man.
Um,
I see us live on my LinkedIn.
yeah, I see us live on your LinkedIn as well. So that's what makes this even funnier is that we are live on one and not the other. But I think it's weird. It's like the time zone is all wonky and off. So I am not going to stress it, quite honestly,
Yeah.
because it's going to be on YouTube.
Cool.
It is going to be on your not favorite place, Facebook,
It's okay.
and it will also eventually be on Instagram sometime today, maybe, maybe not. so, so we'll see. So I see us live on Facebook. What I have learned with Facebook that is fun is that while all of my posts are typically public, every time we go live, it posted as private. So
Man,
the shits
a
and
lot
giggles of
of
it all.
layers to this. You're
Yeah,
really
like
taking on something legit here.
well, the funny thing is I didn't want to do a podcast,
Mm.
and I don't know why that was a concern because quite frankly, this is probably just as much a
Seems
concern as
harder
a
to me.
podcast that I was trying to avoid.
Oh
So
my
I
god.
am only stalling just for a quick second just to make sure that we are on Instagram. And so I will do that connection again.
Cool.
And once we have that, we are golden. Come on, Instagram. There we go. Okay.
This is amazing for me. I just get to chill.
I know. I try to make it as
It's
easy
like
as
a funny joke or something. I don't have anything funny.
let's do like some intro music or a dance or something.
Right? No.
All right. So Instagram is getting its life together and eventually we'll be live there. But until then, we'll just go ahead and get started. So,
Cool.
hello. Happy Tuesday. I think I threw myself off because I made these options available to our guests on Tuesday or Thursday. And so far, everybody had picked Thursday. So my brain has just defaulted that these calls happen on a Thursday. And this week it was like, oh, wait, it's a Tuesday. So just to shake shit up a little bit, we've changed the day. I think next week we have two speakers, so we'll just see how
Oh baby.
that one goes.
Love it.
And then I think we have a break, and then we are ramping right back up through March with another lineup of awesome speakers as well. So I am Tanisha Stallnaker of SVS. I am the founder of an amazing operational systems support agency. So pretty much if it involves the internet, tech, and buttons in the back end of your business, my team and I can take care of it. I have a team of amazing, amazing, amazing women, and I say it intentionally because they are all women from all over the world that take amazing care of our clients and of me. And they help me from being me so much. So eventually I'll probably just have one of them do this and it might be a lot smoother, but who knows? So I have with me Eryn Morgan, who is amazing. We met a few years ago.
Ah,
Um,
go back. Maybe
and
that time.
amazing how many different ways our paths have crossed. So I'm just super excited to have Eryn here today. So I want Eryn to be able to introduce herself as well and tell the people about you and what makes you amazing and all of those things.
Thanks. It's so fun to hang out with you. I when you asked me to do this, I was like, legit, yes, 100%. Because you're fun. I love chilling with you. I'm Eryn Morgan. I'm a business coach for creatives. I work with web designers, graphic designers, brand designers, all the amazing creative gals who really bring the internet to life, right? They make the websites, they write the copy for the websites, they take the pictures for the websites, they bring it all alive. And it's like my total joy and honor to be able to support them in growing their businesses. So I'm hanging out in Winter Haven, Florida. It's actually a sunny day, thank goodness. We've had a bunch of rain, but I am just like, the topic that we picked for our conversation, this networking relationship. I mean, this is what I'm all about. It's literally how I've grown my business. And so I'm really jazzed to talk about it and go behind the scenes a little bit.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So as always, I like to give a couple of disclaimers. Some of them are already happening because the go live button on Instagram still isn't turned on. So this truly is unplugged. It is unscripted. I don't know that I could be trusted to follow a script anyway. So I think that one of the reasons I wanted it this way, as clunky and messy as it's going to be from time to time, is because that's literally what entrepreneurship is.
Oh my God, yes.
And
absolutely.
It is like, I jokingly always call it the wild, wild west. Like, you just don't know what is going to be thrown at you from day to day. And then you have the crazies like us that enjoy that nonsense. And so
I can think of like two went wrong examples just from this week. I'm like, how did that happen? How? Oh, okay. Well, we roll with it.
So I wanted, because I always watch, and I know so many of us watch like these super polished, amazing podcasts and webinars, and everyone looks perfect, and makeup is perfect, and the hair is perfect. I mean, in hell, if you look at my website, you will have been tricked, because yes, that was my actual hair that day, but that's not like every day. And that was a year and a half ago, and maybe 5 inches of hair ago. So I also do this because I want potential clients or partners or leads to see like the real me and the connections of real people.
Yes.
So that being said, my dog is outside for now. That doesn't mean that he won't come busting in here at some point. Hubby has come home for lunch.
Okay.
And so we may or may not hear any of his conversation throughout the afternoon, because I don't even think he realizes we're on this live right now. So
probably not.
Anything's possible on my end. It sounds like you actually have things under control on your end.
So for the moment. Yeah. The puppy's in her playpen, and that doesn't mean she couldn't decide to start to scream really at any moment, but she's contained for the moment.
All right. So my point is, anything's possible.
Yes.
But we are going to flow with it like we do every day. So you picked effective networking and relationship building. And I think that's awesome, because like you, I have built quite a bit of SVS's growth and business from making connections and relationships with other people. So I think that's an amazing topic. And I just am excited to kind of hear your perspective on it. So I guess, first off, how long have you had your business? Just so people understand that.
I started in 2015, before Zoom was like a household name. Like, people didn't know what that was. They're like, you work online? Yes. Well, how do you do that?
Do you kick yourself for not investing in Zoom stock as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. There are a couple platforms that I'm like, damn, why didn't I? But like, I just sort of let that go, because I use Google Meet now. I'm like a total, I am so anti. I'm like, all the things that I just don't like or I don't want to pay for anymore, I'm like, well, I'm not doing it, because there's another way, and I'm going to find it. Because back in 2015, it was the wild, wild west of the internet, right? Like, this stuff, these cool platforms and integrations, like, these stuff didn't exist when we started, right? So, yes, I've been around for a minute.
All right. So I guess when you look at 2015, I guess, what was the year, or what was the thing, or have you always kind of used your ability to connect and network to grow business?
I've always had to do that, because I did not have the gift. Like, when we're so unplugged, which is great, because like, there are these people who are amazingly polished, right? I use Zoom, or in this case, our little restream. I do this. Like, this is the mirror in the morning. Like, there is no polish here. And yeah, I used to wear makeup, but then I went, I don't want to do that anymore, so I'm not doing it, right? There was just, I never had that brand that was sexy and pretty and polished and all the things online. And I unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, like, I just shoot totally straight. I will tell you exactly how difficult something is going to be. I am unfiltered in that way. And so I didn't have that murky kind of vibe online. So generating leads has always been really challenging for me in the traditional sense, right? I built everything I have based on relationships and who I am and how I treat people and how I build those relationships matters because that's how I've done everything.
Yeah, I totally and absolutely understand that because, like you, I too am not very polished. And it's funny because, and we do have people, so I'm actually paying attention to the comments. I was like,
Yeah.
"What's that
You know
little
what, T? You're gritty. We are just like, we're so real that it's like, okay, what are you going to throw at us today, internet? Because like we're able to just sort of get in there and do the thing. Like there's this realness and their foundational grit that we have that lets us tackle challenges coming at us from all different angles, right? That's what makes us good at what we do.
It makes us amazing at what we do. But to your point, it makes it very hard for us to market what we do because you, like me, and hi Ricky, are both like heads down, focused on our clients. For me, I'm focused on my clients and my team. I mean, I did not start in 2015 as far as a business, but I definitely was on Zoom back then. But I've worked really hard for a lot of my early corporate career, making relationships and building relationships in person. So I was polished. The hair was straightened. I did have makeup perfect every day. I wore high heels like shit. I can't tell you last year I did that. But I did all of the things, the pristine suits, everything was like, if corporate Barbie was like a thing, that was me. But then when I started this business, I made a choice of do the things that I enjoy doing and scrap the other shit. And so how I show up is genuine. And yes, I've gotten so much advice and I know some people that are like, people that dress you and all of that stuff. And they're like, oh, if you just tweaked this, and if you just change this. And I was like, I'm just not going to do anything that doesn't feel natural. So for me, the networking piece has been helpful because I am comfortable. I'm home, and people are like, oh, don't you get afraid to get on camera? Me live by myself is probably never going to go well. But, I'm focused on our conversation.
Yeah.
And I just kind of decided, like, I've never cared. Any client conversation I have could be streamed for the world and I'd be still perfectly fine because I'm focused on the person that I'm talking to, not the eyes watching. Hence another reason why I chose this way to kind of show up a little bit more, because the other traditional marketing methods just didn't feel right. And so between networking groups and networking events and podcast appearances and doing all of these things have been just more organic ways to me to connect and meet people.
Yeah, totally.
Plus, either you click or you don't. And
right. Yeah, I'm not going to vibe with everybody. And people are going to not like my approach or my style, and that's cool because the world is real big and there's somebody out there who's going to be the perfect fit for them. So, I mean, I think that's one of the foundational things about my business that I've always known that my people, the right people to work with me, are going to resonate with me. They're going to find me, we're going to connect. And I don't have to panic about being appealing to the masses because I'm just not. And that can be cool because truthfully, I don't have the bandwidth for the masses anyway. Like there's only so much of me that I can pour into my business and my clients. And when I'm out of that energy, I'm out of that energy, right? So that's what I mean. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about trajectory of things, but I mean, that's why my business fell apart in late 2020 because I had 32 clients that I was one-on-one supporting through the pandemic, not to mention the mastermind groups that I had and all the other pieces, right? I had a team of 6 and like there was no more bandwidth. So I had no other option for me and my mental health and my emotional health and just my overall sanity to let the whole thing slowly crumble down to the ground. And people are now coming back and saying, well, it looks like you never left. Oh, I left. I left big time.
I was out of there.
I left the building. And now I'm consciously and intentionally and thoughtfully building each and every layer of the business that I want to run long term, taking everything I've learned, all the mistakes I've made, and saying, I don't like that. I'm not doing it. I don't like this. I'm not doing it. Or I love this and I'm going to really dig in and I'm going to do it more and more and more deeply. So it becomes people. I've literally rebuilt my business now on the foundation of relationships. People are still willing to take my phone call. And that's the reason I'm still here and still able to serve my clients as well as I can, because I've built those relationships.
Yep. Now, I'm curious, do you still have a team, or do you primarily just work solo?
I have the world's most amazing VA. And she is so amazing, in fact, that we tried to actually start a second business together, cloning her, for lack of a better word, right? She's so good. And so we were going to teach the systems and tools and processes that we've used for her to support me in my business. And what we learned was that took a whole hell of a lot of bandwidth that we didn't have. She has 2 little kids, 2 children under the age of 2. And so I continue to have her on my team, but I've started to, like, if you're lucky enough that I'm loaning her to you, you're really lucky because we're splitting her time out, because she's got me so handled that at this point, I don't need her for the full 40-hour a week that I started her out with. So I do have her on my team, but then I have like these ancillary support team members, like my marketing coach, Kat. She's like in my corner. And I consider her part of my team. I think of team differently now too. Like my bestest bud in the world, my barber back from Pennsylvania, he's part of my team and I'm struggling without him. Like, these are the things that I really intentionally think about team as a holistic thing.
Okay.
So I do have Gem. She is a gem. But other than that, that's just me.
The reason I ask is because for people like you and I that focus so much on building relationships to grow a business, one thing that I had to also factor in is that it wasn't this way always, but now in most cases, at least 75% of our clients, once they come on board, they're actually not working with me. They're working with either 1 or 2 of my team members. And so I had to make it very clear, hey, you and I clicked and we made we formed a relationship, but I also need you to have enough trust in my judgment to know that I'm putting you in good hands. Because when I first started to grow, like, the team of SVS people that are going to like represent my organization, some of the clients that we currently had that had gotten used to talking to me whenever they wanted to, and we were like business best friends and all of those things, that transition was different for them, because now they're still being well taken care of, but the team member's personality is not mine.
Sure.
They're still amazing, but now we're bringing in other cultures, other experiences, other ways of communication, other levels of what's funny. I mean, I'm probably still hands down the most sarcastic person in the whole organization, and it's probably for good reason. Because, no one wants 10 of me,
No. Yeah.
At one time. So I try to be very mindful to balance not just like the skill set of what's needed in the thing, but also what team member is going to continue to maintain that relationship in their own way, so that it doesn't devalue the relationship that I started and formed with this person enough for them to sign a contract and pay us their money. And so I was just curious, have you dealt with that, or have you had to feel that as well?
Yeah. So I think that for my business, I have never outsourced delivery of services. So maybe potentially one of the mistakes I've made. And I grew a pretty big coaching business and I was the only deliverer of services. And so maybe that was a mistake, retrospect, hindsight 2020. But here's what I will say, and I think goes towards what you've just spoken about, is that the relationships you're building are based and aligned with your core values, for lack of a better word. So you have the foundational things of what makes you, and your company what you and your company stand for.
Yeah.
And then you're able to bring new team members into your company and say, do you align with these values? Does this resonate for you to be inside of this company and this culture? And when it does, you know you're going to get that vibrational match with the clients that you're bringing in, even if you're the initial face on the relationship, because you have that vibrational match within your team and your overall team culture. So I think that that's a really amazing thing to be aware of, that you are doing this. You're probably doing it very intentionally, but it also probably feels very natural because people are drawn to you with that kind of energetic match, that then you have that ability to let that ripple through your company.
Absolutely. And now I want to find a way to use the phrase vibrational match in a sentence later on today.
Yeah.
Be warned, people, it's coming.
What I like to use vocab words that I juxtapose. I tried to use that in copy that I was writing for a client yesterday, and actually probably a bad idea. Juxtapose is not a word that most people understand, like from a just, oh, I'm just going to talk about that. But what did I use the other day? And somebody was like, it was just, maybe I'll think of it as we go along. And she was like, wow, I haven't heard that word in a while. It was a good one. Like, I love pulling those like dollar words out of the pocket.
Yeah, that'll be my challenge, is using it in a sentence later on. So I'm sure I'll come up with something. All right. So what, I guess, now the questions are coming.
Okay.
When it comes to like, when you first off, I guess, have you found like a favorite way of connecting with new people? Is there a specific style, group, channel that you like to use, or do you just kind of take it as it comes?
Yeah, I have made the conscious decision that I am all in on LinkedIn. While I do have an Instagram account and will ultimately have a basic, 9 grid with some copy supporting it, even though, and I know that there are people out there going, well, your ideal client hangs out on Instagram, so you need to be there. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to. And so I've chosen LinkedIn. I've gotten very intentional about how I network there. And I started to really think about, where can I be myself and support my clients with the thing, or my leads or my prospects or my networking companions and partners. Where can I be myself? So I've chosen to host a monthly networking mixer. It's very intentionally designed. It's not like everybody else's, because I know my person and what they feel comfortable with. So I have my own event that I host. I hang out on LinkedIn. I do a ton of cold reach out on LinkedIn, just total cold reach out. And the number of people who respond to me, it's really startling, because it was really, really working for me and my brand and my vibe. And then I go to a lot of events that other people are hosting, networking events that other people are hosting. And I really try to pour into that community, because I realize that those people are showing up to meet other people. Like, they are actively interested and engaged and connecting. And so I want to spend time with those people, reach out to them. I follow them on LinkedIn and send them nice messages. I mean, I really put a lot of effort into meeting the people I meet. And I've just chosen not to do it in all the spots, and I feel comfortable with that choice.
No, I actually like the fact that it's intentional.
It's so intentional.
Because one, it's it allows you can, if you, depending on if you're going to look at things more logically or based on feelings of things, logically speaking, you get more actual data putting, energy into more intentional places, because then you can see what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
Versus I am going to the lemonade stand down the street. I'll be on Facebook tomorrow, Instagram on Wednesday, whatever the next thing is, and hopping all over. Not only do you not get a chance to kind of get a groove, you also don't get a chance to kind of see what is the data telling you, and what data is there telling you where you get most of your energy, and where you get the output from it. I think networking is amazing, clearly. I think that at the same time that I can say it's amazing, I see people do it. I was going to say the word wrong, but that's not where I'm going with it. I guess I see people do it with no results a lot.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
where it's like, I'm just talking to people. And I'm like, yes, but you're just literally talking to any random stranger that's willing to spend 30 seconds with you for an introduction. And then you move on to the next random stranger. You're not like actually connecting with anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of mistakes that people make and they don't mean to do them. They have really good intentions. What the first one is you spread yourself too thin.
Yep.
Right. I met 120 people last week. And when I got to Sunday, I was exhausted.
You met 120 people online?
Yes, 120 people online. Now, here's where it gets strategic. Of those 120 people, they weren't all my people. I know exactly who I'm looking for. And so this is one of the moments where, and I get really, really passionate about this. So I'm going to have to take a step back. But ideal client, and we go through these ideal client avatars and they're great. But at the end of the day, when I meet somebody and I'm either introducing themselves, introducing their company, if I do not have a human being pop into my mind that I could send them as a referral or a connection based on the introduction that they've shared with me, they're not clear enough. Who do I work with? Website designers, graphic designers, brand designers. Somebody has popped into your brain. I absolutely guarantee it, or I'll give you $1.
Uh-oh.
Like the end result of my introduction is that you have somebody in mind that you could share with me or introduce me to or connect me with. So I love the women I work with ambitious women. Who is the ambitious women that you want me to think of? Don't we all? Right. So when I was working with a client the other day, she's been around for a long, long time online. She's amazing. But I was asking questions about her ideal client and she was giving me answers. And I know her so well that I was like, that's not the real answer. And so we dug and we dug and we dug and we dug and we dug down deep. And we finally figured out that the way that she could introduce herself, that I would instantly get that person in my brain to send her way. And it makes prospecting elsewhere on online platforms so easy because you know what you're looking for. So that's like mistake number one. Like if there's not a person that pops into the person's mind as you're sharing your intro speech or your introduction, you're not clear enough. And that's not your fault, but you got to find a friend or a partner or a coach or somebody to help you go a layer deeper and a layer deeper and a layer deeper until you get there. Because that's part of the reason why it works so well for me, because I've always been laser clear about who I want to meet. And so of those 120 people last week, maybe 40 of them were my person. One of the events, it's a lot. I mean, those people and we track those people. They go into our Notion tracker. We're paying attention. We're reaching out to them on LinkedIn. Do they accept the request that we answer? Have we engaged in conversation? And I say we because Jem is the only reason that I can do this at scale, because she and I are really in tune with how we're taking care of these new people that we're meeting. But one of the events last week, we had like an opportunity to ask and a give. And my ask was, I want to meet brand photographers, people who take photos for personality brands, for creatives, and 8 names popped into the chat. And I hadn't even finished my sentence yet. That's why I'm good at it, because I was so laser clear in that moment of exactly who I wanted to meet that people had no trouble thinking of who the person was. So I'm not going out to try to pitch them anything. I want to meet friends. My community needs brand photographers. All my website designers and my copywriters are going, we need a brand photographers. We need them. Go find them. And I go and find them and bring them in and welcome them into the community, and come hang out with us, because we want to share all the goodness. But that's part of my secret sauce, is that I am so laser clear on who I want to talk with.
So I think it's kind of cool, because I guarantee if in the future another guest picks this topic, they're going to have a completely different approach than you and I do. You and I have different approaches as well, which I think is also cool. There are things that we do that are probably somewhat similar. Although I can already hear that you are way more focused on this than I am. Like I have an Amy, and so she starts most of my conversations in LinkedIn. And then when the person accepts and engages, then I start jumping in. And she does a lot of engagement for me on Instagram, probably more there for me than anything. Where most people that know me personally still can't and they can no longer tell the difference that it's not
Yeah.
me. But it's been really helpful to kind of keep it focused. And now, are we tracking it all? No, we're not doing it. No, that'll be on our Q4 to-do list of 20. It's not happening
It's
right
a lot. Yeah.
now. But I think it's awesome just to be able to be that focused on exactly who the human is that you're looking for.
Mhm.
While I have an idea of who our great client is, I'm not like that laser focused. So that's a Q2 goal, apparently. Is to get
Well,
super specific in that sense. I think
it's totally cool, right? Like,
Mhm.
I wasn't always in that space. Again, what year is this? 24. I've been at this for a really long time in internet years, and um I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. I
And
can tell you
that's
some of the crazy mistakes I've made, but it's one of the things that when I came back to my business, I came back with a level of clarity that I do not have bandwidth to waste my time. So I've got to get clear because I only have so many hours in the day,
Yep.
and only have so much reserve. So I would be curious to know some of the things that, like, tell me what works for you. Like, what's your most effective networking process?
So
However you think about it.
I have tried a few things.
Yeah.
Some works, some work, some don't.
Yeah.
It's funny. I remember in probably towards the beginning of the second year, I started doing this thing on LinkedIn where I would post up a picture of a coffee mug, and that's where I'd learned the term coffee chat. And I coffee chatted myself into oblivion for a little while. Where every new connection that I made, I'd put up a post once a week and tag every new connection.
Mhm.
Because the one plus that I've had is that being a recruiter a long time before business, my LinkedIn has always had a large group of people in it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to build a whole lot. I had to kind of revamp the audience, but not
Sure.
so much start from scratch. But I literally would just invite any new connection, and it threw people off guard where it was like, sure,
Right.
Now, did I sell a lot of business? Maybe I might have gotten 2 clients out of like months and months of doing this,
Mhm.
but it kind of took the nervousness off of meeting a stranger
Yeah.
online, because it's like I literally had no freaking clue who was going to pop up because I wasn't super specific. It was guys, girls, it was like business owners, salespeople. It was like if you had an internet signal and some time, we were talking. So it was cool because it got me comfortable talking to someone and starting a conversation. It
Mhm.
was useless and a waste of time in that none of them were my target
Sure.
audience.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I could see the lesson in that one. Then I started putting more effort into very specific Facebook groups for a while,
Okay.
where it was like, okay, so at the time I was still mostly by myself. I might have had one person help me. So it's like, I like working in Kajabi. So let me find groups that relate to that topic. So at the very least, we have that one commonality, even if you barely have logged in and don't know how to manage your account. Hey, you're my person,
Right.
You are a Kajabi genius. You're still my person because I might learn something from you. So there was a great blend in
Yeah.
that group. And so as I started working with different systems, I would just find groups related to those systems. And I would look to see which groups were the most active.
Mhm.
And I wasn't trying to like pitch people to death. It was literally like, I remember one person that I connected with, we're still connected for years, started with, does somebody know the specs of how I need to size this image to fit in my header?
Mm.
And I just happened to have time that day. I was like, well, send me the image. Give me a few minutes. So I resized it. And she was like, how much do I owe you? I was like, nothing. And she's like, are you serious? I said, yes. And she's like, no one's ever done that. I said, well, if I'm being honest, I've never done it either. But I wasn't doing shit else. So,
Yeah.
and I know how to take care of it. So I took care of it. But so groups and Facebook were very beneficial for me for a long time, especially as I started. It was probably the catalyst of me needing to bring on people to help take care of client work,
Yeah.
because it went from me having 1 or 2 clients to things blowing up and me having these larger projects. And it was almost like this cycle of I'd bring on more people on the team who had other skill sets outside of mine. And then the client would have a need that they could take care of. And so then it started this other cycle. So it just kept growing from there. From then I shifted to trying in-person groups and networking groups. I think I made it 3 months. And was like, nope, I'm going back inside. This is not meant to be outside. No one should have let me out of the house.
That's actually how I did it before, way back. If I think back to how I first started, it was all in person.
Yeah.
And I found the right rooms, but then I found the right people in the right rooms. And my technique was to ask them questions I already knew the answer to. And when they gave me the answer that I knew was coming, I just held space and I just connected and listened and didn't give advice. And then they were like, well, how do I work with you? And that was what did it at the beginning. And I did 2-week road trips. I filled a mastermind, a 12-person high-level mastermind by just going on a 2-week road trip. And I hit St. Augustine. I was in New Orleans for a good long time, Baltimore, and that was enough to do it. Just connecting in person, shaking people's hands, talking to them, looking them in the eye. Filled a mastermind. But I don't have bandwidth for that anymore either. And traffic in Florida, let's just chat about the traffic.
I was going to say, we can go ahead and just tell the world I didn't do any of that. I actually didn't start going back to doing in-person things, maybe not that, but in-person things until the last probably 10 months.
Okay.
And I'm very particular about what brings me outside of my house.
Yeah.
And if it's time for me to get on a plane, I'm even more particular, but it has been beneficial. I do build great relationships when I go because I've started. It's like, you want me to come outside to go where? Who's going to be there? No.
Yeah.
No, we can meet on Zoom.
Right.
But I think the other thing now is I've done some other groups. Again, I will, like you and I, cross paths again in some other networking groups. I do play with, I've done some what I consider higher cost groups that, were a few $100 a month.
Sure.
I've done some that were free. I've done some that were, like $40-$50. So I will play with things just to kind of see what's that room look like and does it feel natural. So I test a lot of things.
Sure.
And I just kind of give it at least 3 months. And being honest, like, was I just there for 3 months or was I participating for 3 months?
Right.
And if I didn't participate, what was the reason? Was it that it was a time issue? Or was it that when it came up and the notification came, I decided to do something else every single time? Because I've been in a few of those groups as well, where the person's like, oh, I missed you at the group. And I finally just had to be honest to say, I didn't want to go. But you're super nice. I just don't want to be there. It's like, for me, while I might not be laser focused in the picture in my head of the person, where I am laser focused is what happens here and here when that camera opens and we first say hello.
Yeah.
And if there's not a bit of a spark here or here, and it's funny because, some people look at it like it's not fair to expect an instant connection. And I'm like, but that's what I'm looking for. And it doesn't mean we're going to follow each other home. There are clients that I meet that I'm like, oh, this one's going to work me out. The team and I are going to have to work on this one because there's so many outside things aside from just the tools. There's some peopling that has to be factored in, right. But something in them and in me connects still enough to where it's like, this one is actually going to almost have me put my therapist hat on a little bit. I know, but something about them makes it worth it. And it's like, I genuinely want to help this person. Yeah. Versus, because I've had those connections that eventually led to those clients. Peopling, yes. Peopling wipes me out. People don't understand when I like these lives. And I was like, who knew that talking for 30 minutes in my home in shorts, no less, I'm going to need a nap after this call because it's just a certain level of being on. Just like in person that's why I'm so specific in particular, because it is going to wear me out. Yeah. But I've had the clients that, yes, they paid good money and every time their notification came through Slack, it was like, oh shit. Or if a meeting was coming and it's like, oh gosh, let me go sit in a corner for a second because I'm not even gonna be able to think straight after this call.
Mhm.
And it's not because they did anything wrong per se. It's just something about them drained me to death. And so for me, when I'm connecting, regardless of how I met the person, that's what I'm really looking for is this person going to drain me or fill me up?
Mhm. Yeah. I think that is such a good thing to think about. And depending on your unique style of networking and how you get your energy, there are certainly some people extroverted who would say they get energy from being around people, right? So depending on your style, I think that's one of the reasons why I've been so committed to building my own group and my own ecosystem, because most of my clients are introverted, certainly empathetic. Some of them may be even highly sensitive people, HSPs. They're around me, and I know that they need opportunities to network with their peers, but some of them are shy. Right. So if I do the work of gathering the community of people who can refer them business and collaborate with them on projects, and I go out and start the conversations and bring people in and create this ecosystem where they can be safe, getting to know new people, making new friends. They see me as the leader and the person who's able to guide their business growth and their business trajectory. A lot of them started their business accidentally. They didn't like
Yeah.
wake up one day and go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a web design business. They were like, I am so fed up and I am so tired of being at this agency and having this boss that treats me like garbage that I am going to go out on my own and I'm going to be a freelancer. And they don't even know how amazing they are until they're booked out and have a mess on their hands. And that's when they go, oh shit, I think I accidentally started a business. And in those spaces is when that's the kind of that space where I step in and say, okay, things are going great, but you're overwhelmed, you're overworked, you're not making enough money. And so like we can sort all these pieces out. But a lot of that comes from having built the trust that this is a true give community. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
pitch inside my networking group. It's a give community. And what happens is people go, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And how can I work with you? And it's a byproduct of me creating that space. So it's really thinking about for each person, what's strategic for you, what makes the most sense based on your energy and your talents and your skills, because you want to work with people that you love
Yeah.
and enjoy and who you can really help. So it's really about finding that path for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point about in person, where I'm challenging myself this year is doing not so much, well, yes, they're in person events per se,
Yeah.
me speaking. And I don't mean like
Mm.
as a keynote, I mean like as a panel. I
Okay.
enjoy
Sure.
that because I'm speaking about a topic that I know like the back of my hand.
Mhm.
That does not require me to have to create a PowerPoint presentation. I could talk off the cuff, like, that question that everybody asks in their groups where it's like, what's the one thing that you could talk about unprepared for hours? And it's always like systems or hiring people,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, that's exactly why you're talking on my summit. I mean, I think
Yep.
we're recording our interview tomorrow, but it's like all about, systems and how can you automate pieces of your inquiry process you were a natural first choice for me to think of as, hey, I really want her to be part of this. So the fact that you're intentionally trying to do that, it's working because I picked you. Right? I was like, oh, I know exactly who I need.
Yeah, but that I've found when it comes to networking and building relationships, while I probably wouldn't have seen that as the byproduct of like speaking, it has been because now, again, I'm still me.
Mhm.
Nothing much really changes. I put pants on, but I'm pretty sure I showed up to one of those in flip flops and the
You
heels were
told
in my
me about
hand, and I could not bring myself to put
You
them on my
told me
feet.
about that. Oh my
And
god.
I was like, "Ah, screw it. I already know the topic. You're not gonna be looking at my feet anyway. Carry on." But I have found that because I'm still going to be 1000% me,
Mhm,
that I'm either going to attract or repel the people.
mhm.
The information is still solid, but me and how I deliver it, I'm either going to get the people that say, "Well, thank you so much. That was great information," and they walk away, or the person that before I could even get up out of my seat, they're like, "We need to connect. I need
Yeah.
you. We need to talk." Because those have proven to be great relationships,
Mhm,
even if the person either budgetarily can't afford our services or whatever, it's still been like great relationships to build to where I can refer them to other people or help them grow to the point where they can hire us or, so it's been really cool, especially locally, because it's not like in all the years I've been in business, I actually went outward first. And so now I'm starting to kind of look at local businesses that I can support and help and help them grow and all of that. So for me, that's been the benefit of the in-person thing is the speaking. At some point, I will grow up enough to leave the state and speak in person. We are not there yet. So
Fair.
we're still local.
I can respect that.
But
yeah, I love that. I think when you find the event that's worth leaving the state for, you're gonna know it.
I'm waiting, folks. So if you guys have it, please let me know.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask that question.
Virginia.
Who's all going to be there? But the tourist in me will not allow me to not ask that question. Like, who's going to be there? What are we doing? But no, I think that would be an interesting evolution, given that I've been very, very happily inside.
Yeah.
For a long time. And this is my version of coming outside still while being inside.
Yeah. That's good.
So, well, do you have any other things you wanted to share or any questions or thoughts or ideas or other nuggets of wisdom when it comes to networking and building relationships?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you can have the simplest strategy. Your strategy could be like meet one person a week, but the intentionality behind your strategy is the thing that's going to have it work.
Yeah.
So it's worth sitting down and spending a little bit of time with yourself to figure out, how do I really want to build my network? And what do I want that to look like? Because, I think we deserve to run the businesses that we want to run and be connected with the people. We deserve the right people in our networks, but they don't always know that we're looking for them unless we get intentional about finding them. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks for hanging out with me. I love that we get to chat about this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because, the irony being that you and I are going to talk again tomorrow.
Right.
In reverse. So then, I'll be speaking for Eryn's event tomorrow. So we're clearly, bonding and just keeping this party going. But I am excited for how this idea that I ran from for at least a few months last year is coming into fruition, and all just the different personalities, the different topics, the different ways that we approach the topics. And I just like the fluidity of it.
Totally.
And so far, the people that have been watching it have also been like really tuned in as well. So I appreciate that, because I was already prepared for it just to be me, you, and no eyeballs popping up on the screen. So thank you to the people that have tuned in.
There have been some great people in the comments. So I'm sure that it'll get that ripple effect of people seeing it later. And if there's questions or you need, people are so creative and they think of things. So I always love to see just like what ideas pop into their mind when they're hearing us. Oh, I'm a Virgo. Yeah, I'm a Virgo.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I have quite a few Virgo friends, and it is interesting to see how the Virgo energy and my insideness balanced it well, because they tend to be extremely creative, very big thinkers, and then I'm like in the weeds.
It's so funny because my company is Eagle and Mouse, and it has a long story as to how it got that. But it's very much, I feel like I'm not always so typical, because I am both up above, looking big picture, thinking about, where are we going to go and vision. But then I get down in the weeds, man. I am in the weeds, setting up we were tinkering with our Notion database, and I'm setting up I spent an entire Saturday just like rebuilding my people database, because I wasn't liking how I'm so in the weeds too. So I love that. I think that's one of the things that we connect about so well, is that you're so detailed, you're so into the moving parts and pieces of business, that we have a lot in common in that way.
Correction, I'm into the moving parts of everyone else's business. I have rabbit holed myself. I did spend one fun weekend rebuilding the entire ClickUp process for our hiring and automations. So every so often, yes, I think a couple weeks ago, I revamped all the HoneyBook automations and stuff behind the scenes. So, and it was a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, oh, man, I had a great Saturday.
What are you doing? It's the Friday night. I was like, I'm having a ball here.
Yeah.
I got the recliner, my computer, and a drink. Don't disturb this piece, you know?
Exactly. I love that. That's so true. I totally nerd out.
So,
The weekends is when you can get good stuff done too, because most other people aren't paying attention. They're doing fun things and whatever. And chilling.
All right. So is there anything that you want to promote or share before we log off?
Well, I think we should talk for a quick second about our Micro Audio Summit, because you are coming on to do your interview tomorrow. It doesn't drop tomorrow. It doesn't drop until March 13th, but it's called From Inquiry to Invoice. And it's all about how we smooth out your revenue roller coaster and help you create your dream client flow, which I think everybody is looking at. And you're here, you're gonna be talking about HoneyBook specifically, how you can automate more than just like, you know, people are like, I'll just automate sending the contract, or I'll just automate scheduling. But it's like, really, you can think about every single touch point along that client journey from inquiry to invoice. And really, I'm just so excited to see what you're going to share tomorrow. So people don't get to hear it until March 13th, but as soon as Tanisha's sharing it out into the world, you are going to be able to sign up for it. So you can hear it totally free. There's no pitch, and it's all about giving value and just sharing your knowledge. So I can't wait. We will have a freebie of some kind, a fun little freebie to share out with people.
So the cool thing about me coming on and specifically talking about HoneyBook is that, so like this is streaming live on YouTube right now. I am intentionally building the YouTube channel that's been sitting there empty for a couple of years. But what I'm also doing is actual tutorials. So I'll be recording HoneyBook tutorials on there. So it'll be kind of a cool segue from anybody who listens to your audio event. If they want more details on how to use and things like that, they could go there. But we're also going to be having members of my team do the same thing for ClickUp and Dubsado. So that way we can kind of offer some more, especially for somebody who's not ready to bring on a whole agency to build something. We'll have some other avenues. So my plug is, feel free to be one of the probably 10 subscribers that we have right now to the YouTube channel. And, you know, let's see if we can get to 3 figures in the next couple of months.
Yeah, you know it. I mean, I think those kinds of things are so useful, because there are tutorials online, but they're not always designed for us, the online business owner, solopreneur, you know, creative entrepreneur. Like, they're such a different tweak that we need sometimes to make things work for us. So I love that you're doing that. It's awesome.
Well, plus, at least with mine, you're going to have my commentary that I can't not have in the video. So, you know,
I have the best sarcastic friends. It's the best. I'm not funny at all, and I'm not particularly sarcastic either. And so I get so much joy having funny, sarcastic friends around. So,
well, I can't lie to the world and say you won't feel that sarcasm in those videos, but it's okay because you'll learn some things also.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, Ricky, HoneyBook. So send me a DM. I'll send you some information.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Eryn, for joining me.
Yeah,
this has been awesome and fun. I am going to take a nap. And so I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This will be available on our YouTube channel. And of course, you can catch the replays on Facebook and probably LinkedIn, but who the hell knows? But if not, you'll definitely be able to find it on YouTube. So feel free, if you're catching the replay, to ask any questions, chime in, give us your feedback. And Ricky's asking, how do they get to the event on March 13th?
Yeah, you're gonna go and register at there's gonna be a registration link that we'll have once it's all, like, it's literally in the works at the moment. I'm building out pages and talk about tech behind the scenes. I'm literally building it out. But when Tanisha shares out her link to, you know, tell everybody about it, she'll have that for you, and you'll just be able to click sign up. It's totally free, and you can join us.
Yay! So it's coming.
Yay! Behind the scenes.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. We will be talking to you soon. And you'll, of course, see little recap clips of our conversation here and there. Otherwise, have an amazing week.
Yeah.